Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York. In today's scene, we will have a 10-point on sept. I believe Umbrelside, right?
Yes.
Yes, Umberside. Walking the paths, headed with what has become a sense of habit and purpose to a particular point on the sept, going along the perimeter, and heading towards that particular part of the border closest to the museum that has been housing the meteor. And there, in a particular tree that she has become very familiar with for all of her ill climbing skills, uh, she will be casting an eye up for that shock of red hair.
Well, the tree, the aforementioned tree, has since had a bundle of rope tied onto it with knots tied in at various lengths to make it a little bit easier to navigate up into the actual watch point.
Oh, thank God.
And the watch point itself seems to have gained a number of blankets draped over the large branch of the tree.
No doubt at some point, 10 Point was more than happy to shove these things in her swag to make it easier to take them across. So yeah, she'll probably at about her usual time go ahead and come on over and admittedly not with any sort of grace, but we'll manage her way up this rope and pull herself with a bit of a woof up onto the branch and go about getting herself situated and balanced. Probably if there's a smaller branch of some sort nearby, doing the whole number where when you're sitting on the branch, you kind of hook a foot back and snag the ankle around the lower branch, so you kind of have a counterbalance.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know what? Why leave these things to chance? And she will, of course, once she has gotten balanced, even as she's hooking her foot, will tip her chin for Dallas.
Dallas looks at this gesture and kind of lets out a. And proceeds to slice a bit off the apple that she brought with her. And there's several apples she brought with her because she too has a swag.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Sweet. You probably did it yourself then. Sorry, I'm used to enabling people. And I will assume this is a familiar kind of, oh God, just, you're done. You're good. Stop it.
Oh God, please stop.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, she'll go ahead and thankfully it's a brief little exchange of the chin tip. And yeah, she'll kind of settle in, cast her eyes in the appropriate direction for a few long moments just to kind of get her bearings, as it were. It's the same place that she looks at on a what? Probably daily, semi-daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's just kind of setting that familiar outlines, the silhouettes and whatnot in her head again, so that if something changes, hopefully it'll pop out before before glancing aside. Yes, may I initiate a potentially awkward conversation?
Dallas is like in mid chew, and she's got that one eyebrow raised, sort of just looking at 10 Point, not staring daggers or anything, but just got an eye on her.
For the sake of brevity, at least in getting the general gist across, she'll continue. I heard Felix and Aiden Raya speaking of the outing the three of you had. And
She
she's
starts
side
to.
glancing for that the reaction.
It's a very slow resuming of her chew, and it's painfully slow. Her chewing.
As they were discussing it, it came to my attention that these new people that they mentioned had gathered into your company to all appearances of their own accord.
Yes.
I did not know if anyone had brought it to your attention that this means they're certainly not average humans, especially not so many together. One might be a matter of coincidence, but rarely.
I came to that conclusion.
Were you able to decide what they were?
I have some idea, but I know they're not the undead, and they don't seem like servants of the worm. So there's only two things that seem to be active in the city at the moment that I've been warned about: the fair folk and the name breakers. She says as a cat spirit runs along the tree.
Like they do. There've been some cats around, you know. Oh, Jesus. Clawing the fuck out of my leg. Sorry. Oh, Jesus. I didn't need that leg anyways. Jesus, lost my train of thought. Would it be too forward of me to offer that perhaps the next time you were to see any of them, you take me along so that I could ensure that they were not worm-touched? I don't mean to interfere in what you do, but confirmation is always good. And as the silence draws long, she kind of slowly turns a glance.
Dallas has got to look at her, and you need to set up the scene. I said, you need to set up the scene.
I do. I'm a sinner.
God damn it.
I'm a criminal.
GDI. GDI.
Really bad at ending scenes. Okay, werewolf dice roller.
Mm-hmm. Three successes on a peony.
I will tell you that she is... There's enough discomfort there beyond her normal just... She's gotten to the point where she can speak to Dallas, while not necessarily freely and openly, without, undue discomfort or nervousness or anything like that. And she is a little uptight, which means that whatever she knows, she is probably aware that Dallas may not wish to hear it. The offer itself isn't said in any tone that makes it less than earnest or is like wheedling as if she's just trying to get a look at these people or something like that. It's fairly flatly what it is, at least according to tone. But yeah, there's definitely the cues that she's kind of prepared for a backlash.
You want to get... You want to get involved in my personal life, is what you're asking.
I am not looking specifically to get into your personal affairs, Raya, but... And there's the pointed shift from Yuff to Raya. But seeing as neither Felix Raya nor Aiden Raya know what these things are, and seem to believe that you will be near them again, it would both help to decide what they are and perhaps soothe nerves if we knew for sure that they were not in some way worm-touched. I only offer to go myself because I am capable of sensing the worm. If you are capable of doing so and can do it without me present, I'm more than happy to remain behind.
Tenpoint, have you ever been on a date?
There were many things that she thought might have followed the utterance of her name, but that was not one of them. And it's written blatantly across her face as she kind of turns a puzzled glance. No, Ra.
Have you ever felt the heat of another person's body next to yours?
She comically tinges a little pink, but very quickly shakes her head. No, Raya, not besides perhaps laying.
Have you ever known desire? Or attraction, or even flights of fancy, wistful daydreams? Any of that? At this point, Dallas has shifted herself to be uncomfortably close.
It does not help at all. She continues to turn colors. And at least on the last one, there's a light pursing of lips. Very awkward kind of gesture. She resists the urge to lean away. Probably not to a proper extent, Raya. I don't have a very good basis for comparison.
I imagine you wouldn't. So you wouldn't understand the appeal of the chase, the appeal of someone who's has the same level of gall that you might have, finding that in someone else. And for once, not being the average, everyday kinfolk. Something different. Something with a bit of spice to it.
There's a quick little shake of head.
No, I didn't think so. And Dallas will stand up and sort of walk out a little bit onto the branch.
She'll glance up, but only after she's taken a couple steps, just to kind of idly see where she's going or what she's doing.
So what would you think, Tenpoint, if you were to go on the human equivalent of a courting ritual with someone. You were going to meet them, and then you just saw this third wheel there. What would you think?
I had thought, Raya, that perhaps you would meet the group again. I don't mean to step in such an obtrusive way.
Considering that I'm interested in this Karina, whether or not that's how she feels or what she's interested in, it's something that I'm going to pursue until I think it's not a hunt worth indulging in. So what do you think would be the reaction of that one-on-one meeting, having someone there, someone of a supernatural nature, using their supernatural abilities?
I would think, Raya, that it would not be so simple to detect, but going when you intended a one-on-one meeting would not work out well.
All the same, you're a Theurge, right?
Yes.
You know the spirits who taught you the ability to sense the worm in others.
Yes.
So what is it that Theurges can do when their presence isn't required or isn't available?
You would prefer that I sent a spirit?
She'll reach into her magpie swag and pull out one of the Gaia's breaths and toss it up and
Ah,
down in her hand.
but there's rules in the game about things emulating gifts. I can't do that. The contracts between the tribes, the auspices, even the breeds and the spirits are ages and ages old, Raya. I'm not sure that I could cut a similar deal. I could perhaps have a spirit accompany you that was capable of doing it and reporting back, but I do not know that I would be able to create a Talon to serve the same purpose. I'd be willing to try.
All right then. You give me your word that that's the only purpose that the spirit will have.
I give you my word, Raya.
And given what's happened before, do you know what the repercussions will be?
Kind of knits her brow.
If you
Of
don't,
the
if you break that word.
There's a slight uncomfortable shift. Yes, Raya.
Are you sure? Do you need a reminder?
Well, there was an uncomfortable shift, and now there's another slight shifting noise as she begins to appreciate that this conversation is happening in a tree. And the consequences of this potential line of logic here is that she will exit the tree, and it will not be gracefully, and it will not be slowly. No, Raya.
Dallas nods. Back still turned.
Would you indulge me for just a moment more? With a reminder on the off chance.
A reminder of what?
You were raised among the Fianna, Raya. So you know of the Ardrai, yes?
She'll turn around.
There's like a very slight placating gesture. Like, I swear I'm not going somewhere horrible with this. Like the little, like, oh god, don't hit me almost. Especially if she whirls around quickly.
She does, and Dallas seems to be saintly in her tolerance right now of where this might be going.
She takes a moment to reconsider a bit, to rephrase.
I'm gonna roll for that. Just to
Go for it.
see. 3 successes.
Yeah, you can definitely see that she is reconsidering exactly how she goes about this. Because, again, Dallas is suddenly very alert, very keen on 10 point, and 10 point is in a tree. She loses when they're on the ground. Losing from in a tree will be way worse. So, yeah. There is that moment of, let me take a second and delicately rephrase what I'm saying. Or perhaps add a disclaimer. Disclaimer's good. So yeah, there's just that pause. And you can see she's kind of grasping for a second.
Dallas's brows kind of start to arch downward a bit as the left side of her lips start to curl up a bit in a slight smiling sneer. Oh, you had something to say, didn't you?
I merely wish to add that I don't mean to suggest in saying this that you are in some way weak-willed. I know that not to be true.
Dallas very slowly walking towards 10 point.
10 point's discomfort level is rising dramatically as the gap gets shorter. She's not moving, but she's not happy.
She's still walking.
Yep, so she will just kind of set her eyes off where they're supposed to be. That's a good place to be looking right now, instead of at Dallas. Anywhere but there. It is... I'm sure you have heard the whispers about the Ardrai, and you mentioned the fair folk. I know that I can speak to the fact that my packmates are very cautious of these fair folk, simply because their ability to distract and intrigue debatably touches even the Ardrai himself. And so we are cautious in engaging such creatures. There are age-old pacts, certainly, that we would honor if the age-old creatures themselves came. But these fair folk are dangerous, not in that they are a physical threat, Raya, but in that they are, or can be, a more insidious sort of threat and draw our attention from our duties. She's looking so hard in that one perfect direction. How short? How short is just a bit? Are we talking like inches?
Dallas's feet would be on either side of 10 Point's knees at this point.
Oh, well, that's not comfortable at all.
And she's going to do a thing. She is going to roll her strength. And she'll roll her manipulation intimidation. And she
Okay.
takes her foot and puts the heel, like smacks it into the sort of the trunk of the tree directly beside her head.
Oh boy.
There's a success.
I mean, let's be fair. We're just kind of adding to the flavor that's already there. 10 Point has already gotten into a kind of a familiar position when she suspects violence. It's not a particular pose. It's more that she gets just a little smaller. Just a touch. She hunches a bit, the shoulders come forward. So that foot thunks next to her head, and there's definitely a responsive twitch, and I will see how well she maintains her composure, and I will assume I've spent at least one willpower since the last time we did this. I can't even remember. So yeah, she definitely jerks a bit, and not to either side because she doesn't want to go off the branch, but will kind of jerk her head kind of forward a bit, a flinch, really. And what a nice branch this is. Maybe she should just stare at that for a hot second.
Dallas is gonna out of character. This is so bad. Dallas is going to let the foot slide down a bit so her heel, like her toes, are still, like the toe of her boot is still pressed against the tree, but her heel is now firmly on 10 Point's clavicle, the collarbone.
Thank you. It takes a little nudge to get her back against it, but she is not in any position to really be resisting. So as she's nudged and this foot is set on her again, especially with light to the fact that a fall may not kill her, but it'll really fucking hurt. On top of what Dallas can do to her, which will really fucking hurt. And she kind of, especially as that foot levers down and presses her against the trunk, almost squeaks out, "I mean, no offense. I'm simply coming to you as the Theurge in an attempt to offer what little I have."
Meaning no offense. You meant no offense when you lied to Aiden and me. But you're You meant no offense when you had thought about hiding the truth about Katya. Luckily, you thought better of it. And, Dallas is going to start pressing that heel down really firmly. I don't even know what I would roll here.
Are you trying to roll like for a damage roll or?
I'm thinking, yeah, like it's not like she's rearing back and kicking her. It's more just applying pressure until there's, you know,
The
until she
inevitable result.
says, yeah, until she's
I'd say,
satisfied.
especially if it's a controlled thing, just roll strength.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you're just applying steady force.
Nope, not hard at all.
Not yet. She's getting her heel in there in the good spot, clearly. All the same, 10 point by now is her lips are pressed together, but it's obvious that she's kind of chewing on the inside of her lip. There is a very mild sense of Dallas A is very observant and B is very familiar with 10 points reactions to things. There's definitely, especially bringing up past sins, it's an air of acceptance, really. Not necessarily content, but she sees what's happening.
Just the level of how much this vexes me. This whole situation. The fact that I find a young woman out there that's as feisty and as spirited as I am, and there's no indication, one way or the other, whether I can have this in my life or whether I can't. Felix and Aiden harping on me because I wasn't aware of their intentions to not use their real names, yet they were out gallivanting with whatever they were out gallivanting with long before I was. She's going to press in again hard. Well, fuck you, Dice Roller.
Jesus.
It's like nails on the chalkboard in the back of my head how absolutely irritating this is. She's going to slowly shift herself into Glabro because her heel's not doing anything. Dice Stream. Or not Dice Stream, Discord.
God, Discord. Why are you trying to fuck with me right now, Discord?
It's going to keep making Dallas angrier and angrier.
For what it's worth, while the pressure is not as intense as she expects, 10 point is reacting as though, there's definitely a shift, that slight shift each time, as though she's bracing for something much worse. And from every guess you can make looking at her expression, she honestly thinks you're just fucking with her right now. Like you're toying with her by making the threat and not actually dealing any hurt.
Good to know. She presses the boot a little bit harder. Hey, there's something.
Give me just a second to check some stuff. Oh, delightful. All right, and let me roll my soak.
Ooh.
One.
So there
So
might be a little.
she still takes 2, so there's definitely some she bruises like a peach. Yeah, you get in there and you dig in with the heel. And while the worst she's going to put out is a whimper, most likely, very visibly because she is making a point of repressing making noise. Um, yeah, a bruise will probably start blooming fairly promptly under the digging heel.
Dallas, she still has the knife in one hand, and she's currently chewing on the apple. She takes the blade and runs it along the skin of the apple really slowly, and her eyes sort of just fixated on 10 Point as she does it.
While she's not going to see the exact details because she is not looking up at all, she'll catch that there's emotion there. She's not hearing the apple being, sheared as a response, so she gets the general idea.
And she'll bring the slice up to her mouth, and she's going to press again. Constant level of bullying that I have to put 10 Point through to regain my fucking willpower. I'm starting to wonder if there's a. Starting to wonder if I'm a bad person. Jesus!
I mean, Dallas isn't nice, but you're cool. Let's see how much of that sticks.
Oh!
All of it! So yeah, she brings the apple up to her lips and digs in her heel, glabro, like a meanie would do. And as she digs and presses, there's no satisfying pop. There's, it seems like she's not getting anywhere except that after a moment when she really thrusts her heel in to the bone, uh, 10 Point kind of grabs, like, I'm trying to think of, like, I guess there's the blankets over the branch draped there, and she's like fisted her hands in them and finally lets out like this horrible wrenching yelp as there is an audible snapping sound.
That's when Dallas leans forward enough, and she's going to grab 10 Point's chin. Dallas, I figure, is probably bendy.
I don't see why she wouldn't be able to do it. There's also the simple fact that moving much of her at all is going to be agonizing at this point. So even tipping her chin up, she's kind of breathing shallowly in an attempt to minimize the pain, because breathing now is also a painful affair. And yeah, she's whimpering every time she breathes.
It's about like that. That nagging, unyielding sensation. It's just not pleasant. And about how many seconds do you think have passed at this point? I think she's healed up a little bit of it.
A bit of it. It's probably started knitting. She's slowly starting to take slightly deeper breaths. It was very short, very shallow ones initially. But as she's speaking, 10 Point, rather than regaining her composure, as most people might, is actually healing, and it's reflecting that rather than her calming down. Because she ain't calm.
And given that she starts to breathe a little bit easier, she's going to give one last sort of push with her heel. That seems like a good send off. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah,
it's
she
already
does.
there. None soaked again. So we'll
Ouch.
say that I figured it was maybe 15 seconds. So it started to knit, it started to kind of mend itself back together, and that weakened bone, still not fully reformed, with that pressure, snaps again in the same spot, that nice weakened spot. And this time it's a proper shriek.
Dallas has got a good hold on that lower jawline. So you know you're not going out there to add to that burden, are you? To have that feeling.
And seeing as she is no state to give a verbal response, and let's face it, probably has tears streaming down her cheeks because a broken collarbone is not good. But there's the weakest pressure against the hand that's holding her jaw to either side. The weakest attempt to shake her head. Complete with the occasion, I should say each time it goes to move either direction, a wince.
Good. Good to know. And she'll remove her foot off and take a step back.
And she will just remain pressed against that trunk for the moment because she can't think of any position that would alleviate the pain. And just again, this time with her eyes shut, just focuses on trying desperately to catch enough air without hyperventilating herself, and just trying to wait out the familiar, if somewhat slower than she might like, healing process. And is Dallas going to just kind of stand there and watch while she knits back together?
That's what she's doing.
Yep. So she will sit there and, eyes closed, back to the trunk, will take the time to heal the injury, and probably still be hissing in pain
Does she close
even
her
by the
eyes?
end. Oh, she closes them after the second snap. When she draws back and speaks, she just plants her back to the trunk and closes her eyes to focus inward rather than outward.
Katie, this is such a shitty thing to do, but I think you'll appreciate it.
Oh, Jesus.
Dallas is going to crouch down into like a 3-point stance, one arm on just one hand placed gently atop the surface of the branch, with her sort of leaning her shoulders slightly in between her knees. And while 10 Point is there with her eyes closed, she's going to activate a gift.
Oh, God. You're going
And
to make me look up falling damage.
and she's going to shift herself into Kranos.
Oh, God. You're going to do both? Does the gift have the effect even if you're not looking at the person? Or will it not grip until she opens her eyes?
I don't know if if you can't see it, doesn't have any effect. But the fact is maybe the sound is scarier if she makes noise. Dallas is trying to be whisper quiet right now,
And every
because
creak is incredibly, deeply menacing.
just the image I have in my head is 10 Point, writhing in pain, breathing in, her eyes closed, and Dallas is within, a few feet of her.
A few feet. I'm surprised it's not like a few inches at this point.
Well, yeah, at this point it's just a few inches, but I just, that closing your eyes and there's just a hot, a glabro or, relatively human-sized thing there. And then there's this Krenos-sized, gift-enhanced.
Yep. I want you to, Vinny, have you ever like decided to make the bad decision in the middle of the night to watch like creepy videos or horror movies and just psyched yourself the fuck out to the point where you're like, I don't need to turn off the light tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're imagining things that aren't there but are so much worse. That's essentially the experience she's having with her eyes shut, I think, is that every little sound is just something terrible. And every little shift of the air, even to the point where Dallas looms over her enough to cut off the breeze, like, it's somehow a lot more poignant and a lot more blatant and just sets up the hair on her body.
And
And
Dallas is going to wait for her to open her eyes.
yeah, she's left with that decision of does she really want to? What happens if she doesn't? But what happens if she does? And she'll be sitting there, probably with a hand finally having slowly crept up to lay very loosely affront the afflicted, like, and of course, like, disgustingly bruised area. And Dallas gets into this position, and the bruise fades until it's hidden by her palm. And, well, there will still be the side effects of pain, some sweating, some tears, etc. There's all signs of injury will fade. And yet, she's shaking. Look at her. And yeah, she does not immediately open her eyes.
Dallas is patient. She'll wait. Like she has no intention of harming 10 Point physically at this point. This is literally all just. See, before I was making a point. Now I'm just fucking with you. Like any good relative should.
And with her eyes still shut, at least for the moment, will again practically squeaking at this point. Her throat's a little tight.
Sorry, I missed that.
I understand, Raya.
Dallas is going to back away slightly, and I'm going to roll her deck stealth. Shh.
Jerk.
Oh, this is horrible. Watch her botch this. She didn't botch, but she failed. So I'm guessing the branch kind of like creaks a bit as she moves. She probably even makes like a little bit of as she shuffles backwards. God damn it. Oh, the bumblefuckery.
And it kind of works to her benefit that there is some slight sign of her backing away. Whether it's because that, the hot Krenos breath is no longer coming down on her, or it's the slight creaking of the branch, or simply the fact that a little bit of the breeze even if it's a weak little stirring of the air, finally is detectable again. And considering that she's probably got a panic sweat, it makes a difference. There's no stirring, and then there's any stirring of the air. So yeah, with that shift, she finally drops her head a bit and opens her eyes, kind of reaching around to find the anchor point of the rope as she does so.
Dallas is the second those eyes open. I don't know how much of an effect it'll have, but Dallas is going to slam her fist down onto the surface of the tree so she can roll her strength intimidate in this form. Dallas is learning lessons that Aiden taught her.
Oh, Jesus, what'd you get?
7 successes.
Jesus. Reroll my willpower. No. Fucking 3 dice. What is my life? And she puts off a strangled sound that was probably meant to be a scream, but it just doesn't make it out.
I scared her so much. I scared the...
You scared her silent, man. So yeah, that massive fist hits the tree, and she's so taut with fear that the scream just doesn't really make it out. There's some little noise and a wheeze, but it doesn't make it to fruition like it should. And she desperately grasps back, and I am gonna roll a thing that I'm gonna regret as she tries desperately to swing down and
You're
hit
gonna
this
try to put
rope.
that at a higher difficulty. Oh my god. You created this monster, Katie.
I did. Proud of myself. Thank you very much. So let me get back on the right page here. Ugh. Okay. Rolling Dex Athletics. Considering the ludicrous amount of intimidation between gifts and rolls, gonna put her diff at 8. And I will actually be taking a point of rage because you can have it as a fear response. And it kind of makes sense under this level of duress.
Oh.
And holy shit, she got 3 successes. And I am going to pass this link because apparently as of the snapping, because 10 Point doesn't project into the pack link, but she's an open book. Aiden would have been in motion, but I made him wait until there was a good point for him to actually catch up. So I will give him a moment to get in here, and 10 Point will very possibly burn that rage she just got, getting the fuck out of this tree and taking off like a shot. I guess it would just be for getting out of the tree. I'm not sure it would last long enough to boost her run as well.
She jumps out of that tree like a fucking mouse and just scales down at nose first.
So yeah. I don't know at what speed Aiden is moving through the Umbra, and I'm sure he had a fun old time getting over there, perhaps explaining why it took him a minute to respond to the pain. But yeah, there is a a knotted rope swinging wildly behind 10 Point from a tree branch, and she is on the tail end of burning rage to take off like a fucking shot down the trail, and just kind of mindlessly in a beeline towards Aiden, probably, if he's got an open link going.
It's a good thing Aiden was on Guardian Patrol in the Umber, because this is part of the schedule. So he is moving, quite agitated, walking over with a long, exasperated sigh, and sees 10 Point bolting down, and he just rubs his forehead.
And 10 Point does what she always does.
Waits for her to run up to him, you know.
Yeah, does what she always does when there's a panic response. She goes right behind him, right behind his ankles, and cowers there.
Dallas is going to relax back into Hamid, and she's going to be sitting up here with this exact expression on the edge of the branch. And she'll pick up her apple.
So, scaring the ever-loving fuck out of my Omega for a point, for a smile. Is that what we're doing here? Or what the fuck's going on?
Dallas looks down at Aiden. She brought up a sore subject for me.
A sore subject? Look over at 10 Point. What was that?
She has something to hide behind now, so she's a bit better. She's still shaking a bit, kind of working off some of that adrenaline rush. It was a breach of privacy, Raya.
Breach of privacy. And what breach was that? He kind of just raises an eyebrow.
Oh, sorry, was that me?
Yeah, basically the two of you, like, what the bumblefuck is going on, basically?
I brought something up, Raya, that was of a more personal nature than I appreciated at the time. And insinuated that I could become involved in that situation, which was deeply inappropriate.
Deeply inappropriate. Thanks. Is that fella in Von Everett's camp? He looks up at Dallas. That member of his pack looks awfully not like you. Is that what she's on about?
What? Dallas is going to roll her Dex Athletics to hop out of the tree. This could be frightening, terrible. She lands on a good crouch. Maybe not the most graceful thing, but she hits the ground in a crouch. Maybe stumbles a bit as she, doesn't quite nail the landing, but she effectively lands on the ground. What are you talking about?
I just heard there was a person that you would know in with his pack, Von Everett. I assumed it was that. Obviously not, though, judging by your reaction. So what the hell have your personal business did my Omega offend you with?
She tried to stick her nose into my business. Offset.
Offset. Right. Looks at 10 Point. I suppose this was the talk you had mentioned yesterday.
There's like a weak little nod.
Okay. What did she say that was so offensive?
the idea of a metis getting involved in anyone's potential love life.
Love life. Am I hearing this right?
Dallas crosses her arms and looks at Aiden kind of like with this whole really expression.
Yeah, he crosses his arms. The woman who was salivating over your arm like a piece of meat is now your love life. Okay. So what did my Omega say? Concern or plain nosiness?
I suppose that would depend greatly on the intent or the perspective, maybe.
What was your intent, 10 point? We'll say over his shoulder.
How close is Dallas to them?
Dallas is like halfway between the tree and Aiden.
I say like not like right up on them, but I assume she's within like a reasonable conversational tone distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 point like goes to answer, makes a noise or two that aren't especially articulate or helpful, and tries again in the pack link. And while it's a bit stuttering, trying to think of exactly how to phrase it. It was concern, Raya, but it would have meant going with her on a date meant for two, and would have caused concern in this situation. She kind of peters off, seems to have trouble kind of keeping her thoughts straight.
No, rub his hair. A date. Raises an eyebrow at Dallas.
She looks right at him. Did you think that I gave her the look I gave her at the bar because I was interested in conversation?
I don't care whether you want to ride her or not, Dallas. Will you actually listen to what we're trying to say? The woman is dangerous.
I realize that.
Do you now? Clearly you don't. You're going out with a date with her again? Actually, she's threatening to fucking eat your arm off?
She really didn't threaten so much. She more inquired.
So much as you were high off your head.
So
I was there. And so was Felix. We saw the look in her eye. And now, because 10 points worried, you attack her?
I didn't attack 10 point.
What did you do then? You frighten her?
Frightened her, yes.
And what's the lesson behind that? Well, what's your lesson of discipline?
Dallas goes to say something and she stops herself.
He stares at her quite blankly. Come on, finish it. Don't hold back.
There'll be like a weak little trailing thought in the pack link. Especially as the two of them are like kind of sizing up to each other now. It's trailing. But the line that comes across is essentially, her personal business is none of mine.
He won't answer. He'll just wait for Dallas to finish, and he'll stand there, not in an aggressive stance, almost very curious. See what she says.
Dallas is thinking about it herself. And she comes to the conclusion, each one of us is allowed to have something that's our own, right?
Go on.
We're willing to fight for each other, die for each other. I don't question that. I've seen you come to my aid as quickly as you've come to hers. And I know that she would protect me as much as she would protect anyone else of this set. But the fact is that stepping into what an Arun holds dear outside of their duty to Gaia is a very dangerous prospect.
Ah, I see. I see. Okay. I just nod once. Well, the rebuttal I would have, and other people would have, is if that girl's a danger to this sept, if she's worm-tainted, and you don't know that for a fact, whether or not or no, that's a danger to everybody, as much as yourself. God knows what could have happened to you if I wasn't there. That's what I would say. But then again, if that's what you want to do, and that's the message you send, fair enough then. I ain't gonna stop you. You're a big girl. You can make your own decisions.
Kayla narrows her eyes a bit and looks at Aiden. Why are you making such a big deal out of this?
Because you don't trust people like that. You don't, Dallas. If they are what I think they are, then you definitely don't trust them.
And what do you think they are, Aiden?
They're probably them fucking folk that I met before that on my sept home we don't talk about. And you don't trust them ever. Because they're far more nefarious and devious than even I am.
Aiden, I am going fucking insane. This fucking city. I want to be able to see things that aren't just Garu and Kin.
I fail to see. I say quite evenly. You want to see different things, okay, I can get that. But what happens when those different things hurt you and us and cause divisions like this right now? I'm just saying, remember who you belong to.
She lets out a really heavy sigh. You know I haven't forgotten that.
Not yet. I don't trust this girl. And if I see her again, I'll make that perfectly fucking obvious. You do what you want with her. But if she puts the sept in danger, you know what'll happen. That's not a threat. You know what Skovgard will do.
If she puts the sept in danger, I'll take her head off myself. Or do
We'll
you
see.
doubt that?
I don't know, Dallas. I don't like things that try to kill me and then try to shag him afterwards. But that's just me. This isn't my hill to die on, so if you want to ride her, go right ahead. But just remember, she would probably fuck you over just as quickly, because that's in their nature. You just stand there very matter-of-factly, and we'll kind of look at 10 point. I get you frightened her. No problem. Just make sure when the next time you don't have to send me come running looking after her to make sure she hasn't fucking done something stupid. He'll turn and just step over 10 point.
Dallas will kind of quirk a brow at that as she sort of looks at Aiden as he turns his back. Do you think I'd actually kill her?
He'll turn and look over at her. You're a creature full of unnatural rage, and you're in a rune. Anything could fucking happen in a frenzy.
And
Same as I could
I
probably kill her.
I asked you a question, Ryan. Give me a simple yes or no.
I know what you're wanting to hear, Dallas, and that's not like that before you jump to that. I'm saying when an Arun gets aggressive, you respond. When any guru gets aggressive, you respond. And you could very well kill her. Quite easily. I could kill her quite easily. It's better to be precautious because at the end of the day, one snap is all it takes.
So what do you do then in this fucking city to tame your mind? I know you know that feeling of being surrounded by everything that you work with. That's your duty to interact with. And at some point that grinds on you.
You protect yourself. And you don't put yourself at risk. And you listen to the ones who've made it. That's the big thing. There are far more guru here experienced than you and I.
Dallas will toss her apple core towards a grouping of ant spirits, I guess.
Hell yeah, they're fucking psyched.
Why the hell do you have just this fucking talent to make people so fucking introspective?
Because I'm a ragabash. He gives her a stare like, duh. You know what I mean?
It was a rhetorical
supposed to
question,
do that.
obviously, because she's sort of like pacing back and forth and she just looks frustrated. If not remorseful, but frustrated.
No, the 10 point was stepped over and during this conversation has relocated to again behind his legs. Like slunk like a kick dog behind his legs.
Consider this. Why are you getting so introspective? That's the question I would ask yourself. Is it because deep down you know I'm right? And you just don't want to admit it? That's a common thing.
So if I am, then
Everyone has their moments of doubt and makes mistakes. But it's important to know that when your guru, sisters, and brothers come to you out of concern, it's not because they want to stop you from doing the things they want you to do. It's because they care about you. And they worry.
You've never seen a relationship between the two sides of this ever go well.
And that's supposed to justify it for me.
I'm asking you a question.
I've heard of it. And I'd say the same thing that I'm saying now. It'll end in tears. In fact, one very recently, from what I hear, your favorite person in the world, I think, was in with one, from what Saoirse told me.
It's going to take a moment for Dallas to put those two together. But, I just got this willpower point. I just got it back. I just got it back.
No, Benny, no.
What's the phase of the moon?
Let me look. Oh, Jesus.
It is a waning gibbous. So what's the difficulty for that? 5?
7, 6, 5. Yeah, 5.
She'll spend the willpower point.
Hmm.
That's how much she likes you, two of you.
Oh. Oh, okay.
She doesn't. I don't ever keep her at thrall territory. Ever. Dallas, when Aiden probably can see it on her face when she puts 2 and 2 together. There's just this sudden luster that comes to her eyes. The flight of the Valkyries, fire, all that just conveyed in a single look.
He'll stand there, wait for her to calm down. I'm not saying don't be with the girl. I'm saying be careful.
Dallas kind of lifts her head and starts nodding to herself.
Do your checks. Be smart, Dallas. And if the checks clear out, the checks clear out, and she's fine. Then do what you need to do, but check. That's how you keep yourself and others safe. That's your responsibility. Then you can indulge in the things you want.
Dallas will nod.
You just nod at her, and whatever you do, don't bloody tell her everything. And he'll smirk.
Well, saying. Look, I already apologized about using your names. I didn't know. But if you think that I would give out secrets...
I'm saying it's easy to slip when you're in the middle of pillow talk. That's what I'm saying. It's very easy to tell the thing you care about, what you want to tell them. Keep that in mind.
Her head kind of recoils. Care.
You want to shag the girl? You obviously have some sort of feeling towards her. Or is this just
She's a strong.
a one night stand? Raise an eyebrow.
Not sure. I would assume, maybe. I don't know.
And how'd you feel about her?
She's got the right attitude.
Right attitude. Just nod. What else?
She's obviously attractive.
Yeah, you're gonna see her again. He'll just smirk.
Can you blame me?
She's not my type.
Well, no, I've seen how you deal with my type.
I don't trust anything that tries to kill me on the first date. But that's just me.
Just for point of reference, Clara wasn't trying to kill you.
I mean, she was going to bite you. Right then and there. I don't trust something that tries to do that to my friends.
We discussed that. And she'll find a rock near where Aiden is and sit on it, keeping her head at least sidelong towards where the museum is.
You discussed it, did you? Does she know what you are?
She doesn't know exactly what I am, and I don't know exactly what she is, but I'm sure that there are theories. I haven't told her anything, if that's what you want to know.
My question for you is, what happens if our people are her enemy?
Out of character, I didn't catch that, Torner.
Our people are her, and our people, like he points to himself, 10 point, are her enemy.
Well, that would put a pretty big damper on proceedings, don't you think?
But you talked about it. Huh.
We agreed not to talk about work.
I see. Nod. That's your business. But just make it abundantly clear to her. I see her again, and she behaves in any way fucking odd. She just gives one nod as if you know what I'll do.
Yeah, I'll let her know.
Like I said, do what you want. Just don't bring around me. You just shrug. Otherwise, knock yourself out.
Dallas Anon. She's got that look of someone who's like clearly searching for all the ways to justify what she wants to do as opposed to what she should do.
Yeah, he just nods.
Coming up fairly short.
Just nod.
That's the kind of look she's got on her face right now. That frustrated look.
You're love struck already. He'll smirk as he starts walking away.
How do you know?
He'll turn and look over. Because every bit of you is telling you should go do the complete opposite. You should run for the hills, and then there's that part of you that just can't. Am I right?
Aiden, that could just be a lady boner. You don't know.
I know it when I see it. Right now you're thinking, I should probably leave. I should probably walk away. But God, Jesus. The moment she smiles at you, you're like, why the fuck am I thinking of even walking away.
Not exactly how it is.
More or less.
Since when did you become a master of romance anyway?
And he will smile sadly and roll manip sub.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Is this the day?
No, it's not.
No, it's not the day. God damn it.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's not fair. It's not fair. Oh, Dice Stream, you are cocked today.
He'll just smile, a bit sad looking, but you know, because it's written all over your face.
You ever been
You got
that
that
way
moon.
before?
Being in love?
Just smitten. I'm not gonna say love.
Huh.
I don't even know her. I know a bit about her, not enough to write home about. She's definitely looking disgruntled at this point. Like,
More manip sub. That's still 3.
I can match it. I can't. Well, no, you're the. I'm the defender. Maybe. 3d10 greater than or equal to 4 failure 1. Fuck you, Discord. Fuck you.
Have you not seen my new wife?
I've seen your new wife, Aiden. She says so flatly. She says really
Raises
flatly.
an eyebrow. Yeah. So there you go. There's my answer.
You actually have feelings for her.
Well, we're getting married, aren't we? Rolls another fucking manip sub. Jesus fucking Christ. That is 2 this time.
Oh. Saying if there was a certain redhead that just recently came on the set that was suddenly available. Oh!
Oh, you get the impression that maybe he's not as smitten as he says he is with his new wife.
You know how in some forms of media, how the second you say something, the recipient of that message is suddenly just there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That rock has, some leaves still spinning as Dallas is suddenly just right in front of Aiden, looking
The
at
guy
him.
takes a ginger step back. What are you doing?
10 point skitters slightly so she doesn't get stood upon.
What are you doing?
You don't want to marry her.
What?
You didn't. That's swagger. And she's going to point at him.
What do you want
Swagger
about
that
that?
the swagger when you say something and you've got that conviction going behind it. None of that in what you just said.
I'm marrying the girl, Dallas.
Be
What more do
honest.
you want?
Be honest with me.
Why would I be honest with you? What business is it of yours? He'll smile slightly at her like, yeah, I'm using your line. Do you not know a political marriage when you see it?
I know. I actually don't know anything about a political marriage.
Precisely. We'll learn to love each other. Rolls minute sub. God, Jesus, Aiden, working this dice pool today. There you go. 4.
Yeah, I can't match that.
Yeah, he says, yeah, you get the impression we'll learn to love each other,
A slightly sad look comes over Dallas's face. And not for the reasons that you might think. Aiden.
What?
Learn to love each other?
Well, how the hell am I supposed to know if I love her or not when I've only just met her?
You don't marry her.
You're telling me to not marry the girl who will make when you join our pack. Right up there with the art fucking Ree, Dallas.
Can you not look at me when I say this?
Why?
Just a request.
Fine. And you look down.
Look, it's not the best example, but before things went to hell with my family, I saw what love was. Never been able to remotely capture it, but Senpai, you're not going to say anything about what I say here, are you?
10 Point is barely coherent right now and shakes her head rapidly.
Fenrir, forgive me. Romance, love, all of that needs to be real. A shag is a shag, a one-night stand, a fling, those are all fine, but for children to be involved in something that's not based in love, wouldn't be worth it. If Banshee comes back and she accepts me into your pack, it wouldn't be worth the hollowness it would leave you with. Just the romantic in me, anyway, it makes my stomach turn. I don't know.
More my lips up. Because I'm working out this fucking stuff today. Two. Oh, three. Three.
Wouldn't you know?
Oh.
Oh!
He appears, same old Aiden, but there is this massing depression you see, and it's in just a flicker of it, like a split-second flicker of massing depression. Like, I mean, he looks fucking miserable, and then back, almost as if you never saw it again.
Dallas will put a hand on his shoulder. Like, I've never known it. Not directly, but basking in it, if it hadn't been broken, we would both be children of Stag.
Huh. I see. Well, if you do get with this girl or whatever the feck she is, I envy you. Because you'll actually have time to blossom through love and see it come to fruition. I envy that. He'll rub some lips up again to mask the fucking crushing feeling in his chest.
Oh.
Two. Again, small flicker. I mean, he just looks just. You can't tell what it's about, but whatever it is, he just looks fucking miserable. Then back to normal again.
By the way, is any of this leaking?
Oh, 10 points being hit with fucking emotional guilt sledgehammer every 5 seconds every time he lies.
Aiden, I might be a full moon, but you're not doing a very good job about keeping your emotions in check.
I don't know what you mean, Dallas.
What's the deal? What are you... Would it be a safe bet to say that he looks guilty?
More depressed.
All right. You just not hiding the fact that you look like you're damn sad. I mean, wouldn't go as far as to call it depressed, but you show more than you think you're showing.
That's my own business, Dallas. There's a reason I came. There's a reason I came to this city, and he will lie like a motherfucker. Shit.
For what it's worth, 10 Point can only respond so much in her current state, especially with Dallas lingering close and having a personal conversation. But she's not just huddling behind and shaking anymore. She's actually kind of pressed up against the back of Aiden's leg, sympathetically.
Another that actually for 10 Point in the pack link, you get the visual audio cue of Aiden sitting at a bed with that woman you see he has pictures of, basically hooked up to machines.
I got nothing on that, unfortunately. This is so close!
He's back to the wall again. But for 10 Point, she sees that lovely image.
10 Point is having a very hard time right now.
I won't cry. I wouldn't want to force anything like that out of you anyway. You want to tell me you can, you would.
If you do like the girl, Dallas, hold on to that. It's my advice. Do your checks. Make sure she's above board. And then enjoy it while it lasts. Because in the end, everything dies. And
yeah, I was like, it's coming.
That's 3.
I can only match you. I can't beat you. Nope.
Yeah, he just seems quite stone-faced. 10 Point, you were hit with the dread realization he's watching the woman he loves die every day.
You want to sit and watch the museum with me? I've got like 5 more apples.
This is odd. I'll leave you alone to your things.
.10.
She jolts.
Dallas reaches into her bag and tosses one of the Honey Crisps in her direction.
Oh, one of the apples?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to decide how much she can... You know what? I'm going to go with the idea that she waits for it to roll all the way to her, mind you, within easy reach, and she'll kind of snag it and, immediately retreat back behind the legs.
She doesn't look back at 10 Point, but she just sort of stares out. Olive branch. Went a little bit too overboard. Maybe you want to roll peony. I don't know if she can.
I'm gonna go with, I don't know if she can really look that hard, but I'm gonna assume that there's a certain amount of course, whatever you say.
Or maybe she can hear it. I don't know.
I mean, sure, I'll roll it for you. Let me double check.
Aiden can roll it as well, I guess.
Surprisingly good P&E for someone who can barely look at you.
Probably as close, given the situation, as she can to actually saying that she is sorry. So she can take that however she wants, but it's basically Dallas apologizing.
Yep. She takes the apple and she does, retreat as soon as she's reached out and snagged it. But she kind of, flips it over a couple times thoughtfully. And whether it's the tone, whether it's a sharp glance, whatever the reason, she stutters out a halting. Thank you, Raya.
I'll take you up on your offer.
Yes, Raya.
And for God's sakes, stop calling me Raya, please. I'm not William White, and I'm not your Raya. I'm a foster, not a fostering yet.
She settles for a rapid little nod of compliance.
Don't call me Raya again until I actually outrank you. If I ever do.
It's another rapid little nod.
And Aiden will just turn and walk off, moving quite slowly, deliberately, rubbing the back of his head. Or 1 more minute sub, so he's trying to keep his composure as he's walking away. Fucking 5 successes.
This is going to make me raise up my empathy before I hit Brawl 5 or Melee 3. Just that way I can keep pace with fucking the Ragabash.
And 10 Point, if nothing else, might provide a bit of a distraction from the subject of his woes, whether it's to him or to the observer. And that once he finally shifts to move, she, of course, will rouse up to walk with him. And will probably kind of do that huddle up against the side when one is kind of trying to provoke the trying to provoke a protective arm. Fucking scared shitless, and now she has to turn her back on Dallas.
Yeah, he just walks, doesn't take hold of 10 Point, doesn't even make any motion, just walks very solemnly back to his cabin.
And I am going to... Would you rather continue this or do a separate scene?
I do not mind.
All right, because as they get further from Dallas, and as the effects of the gift finally start wearing and fading, she'll start to get her senses again about her. Yeah, that's why she's been freaking out the whole time. She starts to. I didn't know if you could. I didn't think you could turn it off voluntarily. I figured it's for the scene.
I'll double look at it.
I mean, if you can like ominous dominus turn it off, that'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, no, that's why she's been acting the way she has. So as they get further and the gift's effects fade with a little bit of distance and, well, the time it's taken to have the conversation, she'll finally stop huddling so close and shaking and, you know, doing all those things 10 Point does. And, well, by time they're getting back towards the cabin, we'll be walking more properly alongside and just like half a step back, and we'll actually reach up to just gently place a hand on Aiden's shoulder.
Turns and looks over at her. All this talk about love.
They don't know, Raya.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't know love till you watch it die in front of you. I'm going to say very solemnly.
She takes on a bit more of a sympathetic expression, not necessarily like trying to look at him as an equal. You know, letting her eyes drop as it happens. You know that if she joins us, if you keep leaking, she'll know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, they're all going to know anyway soon enough.
Kind of knits her brow.
What do you think's going to happen at that point?
I had thought, Raya, that I would explain to those who wish to know what was none of their business that you lost someone you cared for, a friend that you loved very much.
This is not. And how am I expected to marry a girl that I don't even feel anything for? She's nice. I like her. But it's not the same and it never will be.
Then be her friend, Raya. If the two of you can get along, if the two of you can help each other get the things that you're looking to achieve, it is something. It is better than a stilted marriage. It is better than something that is fake. You don't have to love her, Raya. But you can still take care of each other. You can still care without having to give everything.
Yeah. But like I said to Felix the other day, I've realized. I'm going to turn very slowly. When she goes, not any of the nation or the Fianna tribe will fill the hole she left behind.
Her expression falls.
But I'll do my duty as always. Because that's all I'll have left. Maybe that's the lesson Garrett was trying to teach me. He'll just nod to himself and keep walking.
I will be here for you, Mokara.
He'll look over his shoulder and just nod slowly. Bit surprised, but he'll just nod and keep walking.
And she'll mull over what all she was witness to while her brain was running in tiny circles. And will idly process it while just keeping a careful eye on Aiden, following him back. Probably hunkering down to work on that pet project of hers while he does whatever he decides to get up to. Though she'll eventually offer him some of the finished bits. It's a lot of small pieces, a lot of very small, intricate pieces. But she'll eventually offer over the ring, at least one of the anchor points for the piece that she's been working on. That is all made out of a solid piece of antler and has a flower carved into it at the top rather than some sort of gem or the like.
This is her shield, then, yeah?
There's a light nod. It'll be
Just
more than this, but it is a start.
a nod. Yeah. Let's hope she likes it.
I'm sure she will. She seems to have taken to you, from what I felt.
Yeah. It's a shame she'll never feel the same from me. You just stare at the ring very solemnly.
And there's a pause, and her lips firm into a line. And she will do an anomalous thing, a thing that the 10-point does not usually do. And he can stare at it, but she'll move a bit closer, and when he looks up, it'll be very blatant that she means to offer him a hug, offer him support. The pack link's wide open, and she's practically bleeding it. Sympathy as much as she can generate, because she has no basis for comparison. She's probably learned more about love feeling Aiden leak into the pack link than she knows herself.
And he'll just sit there and actually will just pull basically 10-point onto him. So eventually, like, her head kind of rests against his chest. He will look out at the sept, just silent.
And I think that probably a good place to end our scene. So we'll say thank you, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. See you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.